I generally do sort of just all spoken word. Sort of the whole rhyming and verse thing is far too complicated for me, but on this occasion I thought I'd give it a go. This is about a trip to Whitby. I went to the Whitby Goth Festival a while ago, because I'm obviously such a radical dresser, as you can tell. So I decided to go to Whitby, and this is just a little thing I wrote on the way up there, about the journey up. My case is packed, my clothes hung up in canvas bags of larger girth. I have discovered, to my cost, an extra foot of luggage berth must be conceded to the needs of Gothic coattails, capes and sleeves. I struggle out with bags and wait, my weekend comrades soon arrive, but four already ride within a car which has in every way been filled from floor to roof with goth. All touring goths play Tetris. The hatchback car's their science lab. Amps and speakers, dark detritus, are the bots for girls and boys whose packing skills economy beats NASA's on a maiden voyage. Top hats, hoop skirts, parasols in many diverse inky hues complete my colleagues' tessellations, just leaving room for crisps and booze, and most importantly, the shoes. 6-inch soles and 8-inch heels, square of toe with crenellations, boot black chunks of wedding cake jammed into a focused footwell, backs up airflow from the engine, let the bugger steam and bake, all its horses overpowered, no hope will ever overtake, on northern roads that wind and wend like random thoughts of wistful men. But still my colleagues fit me in, I'm 6'2", thank God I'm thin. Counties fly by prior to breakfast, leaving Fenland far behind, dawn just breaking, muscles aching, pit stop at the petrol sign. Not for fuel, we're just appeasing legs which cannot move for squeezing. The DJ's box of prize CDs are lifted from his crippled knees. Calves shoot pains like crossbow bolts, ease past boxes in the footwell, then meet the early morning air in fuzzy socks adorned with skulls, and toes touch tarmac in relief. Revived, refreshed, we all buy munchies, mainly ice cream, who's to care? A designated driver has a love of science fiction. Encyclopedic knowledge of the doctor could cause friction. In certain groups jammed hot by jowl with physical restriction, curtailing any listener's thoughts of escape or abscission. But goths are sable cousins of the steampunk's tweed fraternity, that group of sci-fi retro head shut circuit board conformity, and then embrace rich rosewood hoon Victorian modernity. And so our talks of TARDISes and sepia postulations of that alternate timeline, brass airships plough the nation's skies, and steampunk pirates are the subject of Sherlock Holmes investigations. And as the turn-offs come and go, Bill Shatner's on the stereo. Fens give way to rugged fells in golden early morning light that gilds the granite by the roadside, makes the boulders gleaming bright as onion domes proclaiming glory of an eastern church's might. Nature's baroque evocation backs the orthodox in style, turns our thoughts to Stoker's Dracul, squatting in his stately pile. Spider-like in isolation, waiting for the bell to chime, announcing Harker, his new agent, and commencement of the crime which shall bring him across the seas on blood-dead sails and ebbing breeze, in a schooner called Demeter out of Varna in a squall, smashed a match with black dogs springing, clawing at the harbour wall, which is of course the destination where our pilgrim's journey leads, and that of many more who wear their hearts in midnight shades upon velvet sleeves, because this weekend goths do flock like rich prune clothes at sowing time about the windy cliffs of Whitby, balancing atop the sea. They spread their duchess satin wings, display their morbid finery, and for one blissful April day, see all and sundry dressed that way. So, I'm going to do another thing. An excerpt from a play I'm doing called The Cabinet of Leopold Thron. It's a play about Victorian stage illusion, and this is where the flyers come out, because, ladies and gentlemen, we live in a consumerist society. Some of you may have had these already, but I'm going to get them out. There we go. Look at this. It's going on at the Headgate. I did it at the Arts Centre about a year and a half ago, and they liked it amazingly, and they asked me to do it somewhere else. So I'm doing a little tour. So I'm going to do a little excerpt from this fine piece of nonsense, which is called Cabinet of Leopold Thron, about, as I say, Victorian stage illusion and wonderment. Oh, gentlemen, at the back, has everyone got one of these? Now, you can read them later. It's all right, you're supposed to look at me now. It's fine. You can read them later. That's good. Basically, it's about an illusionist called, obviously, Leopold Thron, who had a cabinet, strangely enough. But I did quite a lot of research into Victorian stage magic. He's one of those figures that people don't know very much about. He was reasonably well known at the end of the 19th century, being the 20th century, then fell from favour and disappeared. And it's partly historical and partly supposition. But I will do a little excerpt from the beginning, actually. Leopold Guestly Thron, tall, gaunt, and angular, sits huddled yet resolutely imperious at a table beneath the flapping awning of a pavement cafe. Too tired to be considered young, yet by no means worn enough to be regarded old, he pulls his voluminous woolen overcoat tight against the December breeze. His only cohort, an empty glass, his only consolation, coin enough to recruit a fresh companion. The year is 1905. The place, West Flanders. To be more precise, the city of Bruges, or Brugge in the local Dutch. All is straightforward and fairly presented. Like the man it currently shelters, the flapping awning of the cafe has endured too many seasons. Once gaily candy-striped, the red has bleached, the white has weathered, and thus the once entrenched opposing hues have now, it seems, agreed to find a mutual compromise in gently undulating shades of shabby biscuit beige. As Leopold debates with himself the merits of another glass of his favourite local double, he runs a coin, idly, back and forth across his hand with the skill of sheer precision and stares relentlessly through the morning mist of the marked square and watches the crows as they whisk and whirl like blackened cleavers around the Gothic crenellations of the city's octagonal bell tower. They're one of the few signs of activity. The medieval wool trade wealth that built the mighty belfry declined some 200 years ago, and the coachloads of happy, snacking, chocolate-scoffing, beer-buying tourists will not arrive en masse until the city has successfully missed out on 2 whole world wars. Right now, this is a dead place, a seed in winter, tight as stone, just waiting to be reborn. This is a place to go if you want to lose yourself in melancholy and disappear from the pin-sharp gazes of inquiring men. Or possibly to write a popular Gothic novel concerned with melancholy and the need to disappear from the pin-sharp gazes of inquiring men. However, Leopold Thron is not a novelist, and so when he hears a woman's voice request directions from the cafe's patron in clear, unaccented English, the muscles across his shoulders tighten involuntarily. He notices out of the corner of his eye a splash of dusky blue and hears the unmistakable rustle of half a dozen yards of silk pressed into surface of the female form. He forces himself to relax, rises slowly with the dignified propriety of middle age, tosses coin upon the table sufficient to his tally, and pausing only to steal away his copper-topped rosewood cane from its rest position beside the chair, Leopold Thron strides away across the square. His inky coattails slice and score the mist in uncanny imitation of the wings of the ever-circling crows, whilst the ferrule of his cane hits the cobbles with increasing vigour. Each report cracks around the empty medieval square like pistol shot, a warning volley fired a hair's breadth above the heads of the curious. Leopold looks out of his parlour window as the first droplets of rain begin to assault the glass. But all the while, he cannot rid himself of the curious cocktail of excitement and inquietude which has followed him from the cafe with the steadfast resolution of a Scotland Yard detective. His rented top-floor rooms afford him an impressive panorama of the city's piercing brick spires and steep stepped gables. However, it is not the high-angled terracotta tiled roofs, slowly darkening to rusty brown under the increasing onslaught of the elements, which hold his attention. No, they are merely a distraction from the image he does not wish to remember, the thought which crouches in plain sight, the hidden elephant in the room, which even now yanks at his mind like a relentless child tugging insistently at its mother's petticoats. Leopold renews his determination and fixes his gaze upon the Romanesque tower of St. Salvator's Cathedral in an attempt to block from his thoughts the phantoms of the past. At that point, yes, there's a knock at the door in true theatrical style, and Leopold Thron drags his aspiring thoughts back from the abyss of days long gone. Relieved to a found distraction, he fixes the mask of a smile upon his face and turns, ready to admit his landlady, Mrs. Gilda Van Tassel, henna-haired, ample-bosomed, and Dutch as a windmill full of clogs, for whom he has an excuse, primed and loaded into the chamber of his wit. And there we will leave it before monkey time arrives.